Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing? I'm just tuning in here for another water cooler. Not a ton to update on, but I figured I would kind of take a little bit of time today and talk about just some of the things that are going on within the company that maybe are maybe more experimental, maybe more concepts and ideas. This is kind of like the first step or the framework to how things kind of get started here. So I thought I would go ahead and just take today and kind of use that as a basis point. We're coming into consensus here in a couple of weeks, so super excited. We have a lot of the team there. I think there should be a total of 8 of us in attendance, which is great. Get to spend a lot of time with partners, people that have kind of helped us get to where we are today. Continue to support us in the future and kind of start talking about these big next steps that I've been alluding to throughout the year. So with that being said, I'm kind of going to dive in here to something in particular that I put this together for someone else, or for I should say for more of a legal regulatory discussion that we were having for a potential concept to run by, and I found it. They found it interesting, and so I figured I'd go ahead and share it here. So we'll dive right in. So this here is basically just a concept. This is not anything earth-shattering here. Nothing too different than I think how most DAOs operate today. But I thought I would go ahead and kind of walk through a basic concept that I think is interesting, has its own quirks and features that are kind of resonate well with what we're trying to do as a company. So just getting right into it, this is a DAO structure. I've got UNIFI DAO structure there, but to be honest, this could be any DAO structure. It's really designed to work anywhere. You could design, you could actually deploy this. Anyone could build and deploy a contract or a series of contracts like this and use it anywhere. You can even use this on like Ethereum and do like an Ethereum DAO structure or a Harmony DAO structure, whatever you want. But I think that this is a nice basis. So we have 2 contracts here. We have a proposal contract and a rights contract. The reason they're separated will become evident here in a moment. But essentially what happens is this proposal contract has some specific rights to it. And the rights are basically nothing. It's basically in relation to UNIFI or into any token holdings. You can perform some action, some specific actions. You can make a proposal, vote on a proposal, activate a proposal, and actually you can execute a proposal if that's done within a separate contract. So a proposal could be anything, but essentially it should be comprised of really 3 things, and that is what the proposal ID is, some kind of identifier for that, maybe a number sequence or whatever, a parameter, and some limit to that parameter. Think fees, like there's a change fee within a smart contract that we're going to address. So it's a change fee to 3%, whatever. So that would be a parameter and limit, and then an active state. Has this been used or has this proposal not been used? Basic concept. Then we have a rights contract, and a rights contract is basically just a kind of like a holder of smart contracts. So you could deploy a smart contract and make it the owner of that smart contract and make this rights contract the owner. It could own any smart contract. Anyone could deploy a smart contract and make this the owner. You could deploy a video game and set this rights contract as the owner. Nothing is going to change unless a proposal comes through that uses it. So it has very limited rights as well. It has an execute transaction function, which is basically reads the proposal contract, takes some ABI and some parameter and uses it to interact with a contract that is under its management. And it's going to have some kind of upgrade function. So the ability to basically upgrade the proposal contract itself. So that would be just, there could be a proposal, make a new proposal contract, and that's how something like that could be called. So getting into it, basically the way I would see it is any UNIFI or token holder, I should say, could come in and make a proposal. So let's say, like I said before, change transaction fees on U-Trade, for example. Proposal, there would be some time period, and proposal voting would happen. This is not referendum voting. These would be actual paid transaction votes. You have to pay to vote. So you would vote on these things, and I would basically go in and store some accumulation votes with some logic that I could call to determine if it won or failed. The next step would be to activate that proposal. So if the time of the proposal had elapsed, and if enough votes were achieved within that time, then you could vote to make that an active proposal. And, or I should say, then anyone could actually go in and activate that proposal. That would make it available to be used. That basically takes this proposal here, turns it into an on state, and it means that anyone could then interact with that proposal, call it to do something within the rights contract. So that would come down here into this execute proposal related transaction. They would call that in the rights contract, and it would be, change the fees within U-Trade to 3%, for example, and that would update the fees within U-Trade. The reason that this sounds very simple, and I know that it sounds very, very simple, kind of some of the fundamental differences here between this and some of the other things that you see is this is really an offhands DAO. This has rights to do whatever contracts that the rights contract has. So once you put the U-Trade contract in there, it would have rights and authority to do anything as long as there was a proposal made and passed. Similarly, it could vote and propose to upgrade itself, past anything on-chain that works. And I think that's quite a bit different than the way a lot of these current DAO structures work. I think people put in a lot more complexity there, and they kind of design these things to maybe be, have some like safeguards in place. This is designed to kind of evolve, and I could see with a contract like this coming out, the way that we as a company could work then is instead of us, building a smart contract and passing over rights by rights, we would actually just transfer the ownership of the contract right into the rights contract. And then that makes it a lot more DAO based. Then the DAO would essentially manage that whole smart contract and whatever functions are associated. You could also have things like, hey, let's let other tokens vote. That could be a proposal, and that could be an upgrade. You could take this smart contract and redeploy it for additional tokens, or read other contracts for data. It's kind of like an interesting way it's kind of like an interesting test of like how and why something like this could work, and why that's a little more sustainable in terms of operating a DAO. It's scary because what it does is it provides all of the access and the use to anybody that has the tokens. But on the flip side, it does make a much more interesting kind of decentralized structure. So yeah, that was it. That's my quick kind of sharing here of this. I'm kind of happy to put that out there and share it with anyone else that is interested in seeing more about it. Where does it go from here? These kind of concepts just kind of start as a basic framework, and from here we'll kind of continue to evolve. We do have a very nice DAO structure now. It's not too dissimilar from this, but what it is but what this does is it gives us some idea of, well, what do we think it's going to be like in the future, right? Do we expect that in the future, we want this DAO to be completely separate and operate on its own? We as a company, from a regulatory legal perspective, if we're developing smart contracts, maybe we should just be building those smart contracts for this DAO. Give this DAO resources. We could give this DAO access to funding, and then we as a company could then propose to that DAO, hey, we want to launch or build X. We'll build it for X fee. And then we put that out there. The DAO could then vote on it, approve that. And once the contract is built, we just give the ownership rights into that DAO. And it keeps things very, I think it actually helps businesses because it keeps it a lot more similar to like a traditional non-crypto business. Because then you can sit there and say, okay, listen, we're just software developers. This DAO is operating this structure. They commission it. They determine what's wanted and needed. There's no special rights here. There's no must be approved by Julian's address here. This is simple voting, simple DAO-based thing that could be built on. And like I said, the cool thing is you could even, other people could write smart contracts. They could write a smart contract for a new structure, new proposal structure that says, hey, there's going to be like super representatives, right, that have to be voted on first. And anybody could write that. They could write that, propose it, and then using the rights contract, upgrade into that system. It would become adopted. That's without us entirely. And I think it keeps the whole economy a lot more sustainable. It keeps the whole thing a lot more future-proof and not subject to, any changing whims of, regulations and things like that. So I think it's a neat basis to kind of start things off of. So yeah, just some quick insight on kind of how concepts start, evolve, and continue to be built out. We've been building a lot of things lately that we're super happy to talk more about here as we come into consensus, and talking to the community shortly thereafter. I know we've been teasing about these now. And yeah, guys, so thank you all for tuning in, and everybody have a great week. And that's it. Bye.